Greetings to the best family on YouTube, well, in our opinion at least, our EDC family. I'm your host, Prophet, and with me as always is the Professor. Okay, EDC family, once again we have a first impression and unboxing on the table here in front of us. And to give you a little bit of a clarifier, if you don't remember what that means, it's basically a shorter version of our carry or bury game that we will play today for you. Now, how that works is if the item in question becomes more need heavy and less nail heavy, it'll win our mini game. The item is playing for its chance to be carried by either myself, the professor, or both of us for a minimum of 30 days. This will get us enough time to collect the data that we need to give you a full carrier bury game, and thus an actual review of if we would recommend the item. Now, if you're new, please feel free to back out and watch our video numbered 20, which is our rules and remix of both the full-length carrier bury videos and reviews and these shorter mini games, which are again playing for a chance to be carried by us. So, of course, also making sure you understand the shorter length first impression and unboxing mini games that we're doing today is the point, right? So, all right, what is this knife? What's this name that we're seeing on the table here, Prophet? Today's knife is the Remette Wild Series knife. Yeah, no, I did not stutter. Remette. Kind of got me too. Actually, I'll be honest, I thought that we had purchased a wee knife. That's what this looked like to me going through everything quickly. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So again, the company is Remette and it is the Wild Species knife. This knife was purchased on Amazon by us here at Carrier Bury. So opening disclosure time, right? This knife was purchased by us locally without any help, without any discounts from any retailer or maker or website. This was bought by us on Amazon. At the time, we purchased a whole bunch of popular knives that had ratings above 4.5. We have them in a big bin here on the compound, and we're randomly grabbing one out of the big bin for the purpose of these unboxing first impression videos. For you, our EDC family, our content gift to you. These are the knives that we normally would not have purchased for our personal collections in the past, but in order to grow, we must grow together. So when we get to these particular Amazon first impression knives, remember, these are most likely going to be a true unboxing and first impression for us here on the compound. And as I was saying, this Amazon knife here is just that. We paid, I think it was just under 200 USD. I think it was 199 at the time plus tax. Currently, as of filming, I double checked today and they're about $188.86 for this particular version on Amazon. This is the dark blue version that we have here. Quick FYI, if you don't like this color combo on this knife, it's just aesthetics. The knife comes in some other color combinations, and actually, from what I can tell, it has other actual blade designations on this knife as well for a more budget-friendly pricing. So with that all out of the way, remember, if you don't like this particular color style, there's always more things you can look into, our wonderful EDC family. If you like the shape of the knife, you like the way that it looks, there's usually going to be an option for you. You know what time it is, right? Show me the flipper, right? It's Prophet's pocket check time. Let's see what I was carrying today, EDC family. It was an interesting weekend here. I had a client who I went over to her house and helped her with some yard stuff. First time home buyer young lady, very cool young lady. So I actually had my trusty Milwaukee Fastback on me, help cut out the concrete bags and the tubing, things like that for fencing. It was very, very handy, and I had a great time with this little guy today. I also, on my belt, I had my Microtech Signature Series here. This is going to be the M390 version of the Ultratech. And it's the Tonto single edge, as you can see, with the black and I think it's a bronze style hardware with the Microtech triangles moving through the knife. I believe this was one of the first videos that we did on the channel, but that is going to be the belt knife that I had on me today. And then usually when we're doing outside stuff, I have a little pen and I have another little as I like to call him, my old man knife here. This particular old man knife finds itself in my pocket quite a bit lately. This is the Ohio River Jack by C. Reisner, and it's M390. I've got a couple different versions of this titanium bolster type of new wave, catching up with the old school knives of the past. I kind of enjoy those. And of course, I've got my little trusty leather sheath here. And that's where my pocket check was today, other than this for my light. I actually love this little guy. This is the Olight Pro S, or the Olight O-Bulb Pro S. And the reason I really like this is you can pretty much stick it anywhere. It's got the magnets on the back, and it will give you a little bit more broad focus of light. And you've got a lot of different options. You can move it up and down. It's got some really fun stuff on it. What I really like about this is like I said, I can put it up, I can brighten it, I can make it go a lot more dim. I can utilize whatever I want lumen-wise. And at the end of the day, what I like to do with these is put them in my toolbox. I have a little metal thing and I pop it up on my toolbox and I can really get in and see what tool I'm grabbing. So I know it's not your typical EDC light, but it really just kind of fits in your hands, kind of like a awkward orange, I guess. But this little Olight O-Bulb Pro S was what I carried for my light today, EDC family. All right. Okay, with Prophet's pocket check out of the way, let's get back into our video, right? So normally when we wrap up our opening sections on these unboxing videos, we always give you an idea about the gear or the knife. In this case, the knife that we're reviewing, the Remette Wild Species knife. I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. I know it's not one of those words that I don't know. I know the word wild, I know the word species, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you as well. We put them together, we got wild species. It's kind of a bit of a statement, right? So this knife was marketed and is marketed for camping and hiking. In the minds of the Remette folks, they wanted this to be the pocket knife of choice for the people who are going to be out in nature and the outdoors. Also, this little wild series knife, right, is kind of wild on its own, right? The actual designation of this guy is the wild option of the knife itself. What they claim is it has hand-grinded pearlescent Bowler M390 steel, what they call a textured titanium handle with loads of character. Basically, Remette's hoped this wild version of this wild high-end knife. Now, remember, if any under 18 or under 21 people are watching, you can't drink every time I say wild. You adults, you have a damn good time. Anyways, with the budget focus price point, it would be an easy choice for the EDC world. Now, from what I learned, this little knife here was in-house designed by Remette, the folks over at Remette. I can't see an actual designer, which is not always uncommon for some of these knives that you see coming out of China, but I wasn't able to find any maker or anything like that on this knife. But now we know that the name, right, Wild Species, is named after the wild species out in the world. All right, folks, now that we've learned the name of the knife, which is customary on the channel, let's move on to our Knowledge is King section. Remember, since this is not a full review or full carryorbury game, there will not be a Professor's Portal today. Since there is no Professor's Portal, and this again is our first impression, what we'll do is we'll check in with dear old Granny quickly before we start this knowledge section. As Professor gets that icon going on the screen, or he probably already has, let's check in with Granny to see if she has any little quotes for a knife like this. Many of you have come to love my Granny's unusual proverbs, parables, her sayings, if you will. They're usually a bit off. Well, in regards to this Wild Species knife, I was thinking of what I could use for our content, and I can recall one particular saying that had me a bit stumped for a little while. Let me kind of fill you in here. I think she said something like this: Prophet, my dear, if a village does not embrace a child, and that child learns from the wild, that child can put the village in danger. Huh? I have no idea, Granny. She would then continue, when a child that isn't meant for the wild is raised by the wild and not by the village, they could grow cold and thus burn the very village down just to feel its warmth. Burn it down, trying to share and eat the delicious s'mores with the lions instead of the villagers. Lions and s'mores, huh, Grandma? She almost had me with, that actually makes sense. And boom, we go left, right? Is what it is. Wait. Okay. Now, let's just say this. We love you, Grandma. God bless you. All right. Let's move on from Granny. And since this is the mini game, okay, we'll try to keep Prophet from talking too much. So we're here for knowledge. This knife makes the cut, right, in the game. We'll learn a lot more about it when we do our long form game and review. For now, here's some very quick knowledge on the company Remette Knives I was able to find. Remette Knives may or may not be owned or partnered with Cock Knives. Honestly, I couldn't find the real answer for that. But if we do a real review, I'll work harder to look for that. What I can tell you is this younger knife company is really trying to get their name out there right now. And one of the ways they're doing that is they set up their shop, if you will, in the Guangdong province in China, specifically in the Yangjiang area, or the Yangjiang city. Now, China has about 22, 23 provinces, depending on how Taiwan fits in, which is claimed by China, but is currently not controlled by it. But we don't need to get into that for knowledge today. What I can tell you is I personally have been to and have traveled along the East Chinese Sea. I've spent a lot of time out there, and one of the cities I spent time in was Zhangjiang. And they are very well known for their knife making factories and companies. In fact, We Knives, I'm sure you know We Knives, right, are one of the more trusted Chinese brands out there. They also are in this area. And there are a lot of really good EDC and knife making companies in this area here. Now, obviously, there are always bad apples in almost any bunch, right? However, usually the EDC items coming from this area in China are really known for their design, for their materials, and they've really begun to overcome that typical negativity that we hear about in the EDC community. Like Chinese knives are cheap, or Chinese knives are basically gas station knives or county fair knives in quality. Could you imagine trying to overcome such a negative history? It's really not an easy road. But from what I can tell, Remette, they really have their footing there, and they seem to be striving to be one of the many Chinese EDC and knife companies that are going to try to become amongst the best in the industry. If you want more knowledge, let's see if this Remette knife can cut through all the negativity and avoid the nails in the coffin with our mini game we'll be playing. Oh, we need to get our hands on it first, so let's do that, EDC family. All right. Let's see here. Now, as I'm fumbling with the box here, which I know you all love, oh my goodness, I don't think this is going to be that hard to open. We're going to get rid of the Knowledge is King icon, and you are going to see the icon for the professor's particulars. One thing to keep in mind here on the professor's particulars is I don't have all of the particulars for this knife, obviously. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do the best I can, give you some stuff off the website, measure some stuff myself, just kind of take it from there. And as you know, again, if the knife passes our mini game, we will absolutely 100% have more information. Okay, looks like we got a knife. Looks like we got a microfiber. We have a fuzzy style zipper case with the Remette name on there. Okay, nothing was left in the box, so that was kind of anticlimactic. All right, let's take a, gosh, I feel like this thing, no tape on her or anything. All right, well, that's okay, right? We don't need that stuff. We're knife people. We're here for the knife. We're not here for the goodies. Okay, wow. Now, I was not expecting this. When I was reading it, it said textured. I don't feel a texture. That may be one of the language barrier issues that we can have every once in a while, right? Let's see here. I'm going to give her a flip. Wow, she actually flipped out there. Wow, show me your flipper, baby. Let's try that again. Okay. Let's look at ways of deployment real quick. So we have the thumb studs, and these are actual titanium thumb studs, at least in the center there. They may be steel with the titanium in there, but they definitely have pieces of titanium inside the thumb stud, which actually is really nice. So the thumb studs work. Let's see if we can Spidey flick this guy, right? I'm going to go, whoop, wow, never held this before, folks. I can't get a good purchase on the Spidey flick on this guy at all, and it's got a thumb stud on that side. If I move to just left-hand opening, it's pretty easy, but I will say this, the detent is super strong. I can actually feel it on the thumb when I'm trying to get it up and out there. It does have a front flipper tab. Works fantastic. So front flipper works good. I was able to use the thumb studs per hand. What I was not able to do is Spidey flick this guy, but that doesn't mean it won't break in some as we go. I will say it has a really interesting look. I almost thought that it was like a faux Timascus in the pictures, but having it in my hands, it's definitely something different. And it does feel like they've taken a lot of, that detent is super hard. It does see that they've taken a lot of ways to lighten this handle. This handle is extremely light feeling. I actually normally on, I think this is over a 3.5-inch blade. We'll find out here shortly. But normally on that, you're getting just, it feels like a heavier knife. It does have a really nice kind of rotation here. I'm trying to see if we have, looks like we have, oh, no, I'd have to look. Let's see what that is real quick. I'm going to guess. Here's a T8 pivot. Oh, yeah, that's a T8 pivot. So the pivot uses T8. Doesn't have a lot more hardware on it, but it does look smaller. I'm going to guess 6 off the bat here. You know what? Even a broken clock is right twice a day, folks. I get it. Looks like we have T6 hardware with a T8 pivot. You do have their company logo here on the actual pocket clip. Looks like we're going to be right-hand tip up only. Very interesting. You do have a lanyard hole here at the back. Looks like the lanyard hole is going to be integrated here with the spacing system there that it has. And another odd blade cutout here at the flip up here that goes away against the lock bar insert. Okay. All right. I think I've got my hands on this a little bit here, right? So let's move on here as we're getting into the professor's particulars. So let's get a look at the blade length here. Okay, let's see here. So we're about 3.6 inches of blade and of cutting. Obviously, don't count the geometry right now, but we're about 3 388 thousandths of an inch in cutting. So you're under 3.5 inches of cutting geometry. You also have a really nice spline on the back here. I wasn't expecting that actually. Oh, she really does have a, and we'll talk about this in a second. So we got 3.6 inches. On their website, they're calling it 88 millimeters, which is actually right around there. Let's check the weight out of this guy. I'm actually really curious on this. Okay, let's see here. We have 4.18 ounces, or about 118 grams of weight. So you are you are over the normal carrier bury of 1 inch to 1 ounce. Absolutely, but usually for a titanium frame lock, it's much higher. Let's check our balance on this guy. Ooh, there's no way. Wow, balance is not bad. That is as close as it gets to where I like it. Let's see here. Okay. They're calling the close length online at 4.55 inches. Let's see here if that makes sense. Come here, little guy. Yeah, that's right there. Cool. They're calling the blade thickness 120 thousandths. I don't want to put the caliper on this blade right now just because it's something called a satin finish, a pearlescent hand-grown satin finish. And I want to look at it a little closer before I mar it up. The full open length, they're calling it 7.9 inches, which we're going to go ahead and call that's probably pretty darn close. And again, the blade steel, it's supposedly manual grinded pearlescent satin finish. The blade steel is M390. They do show it right here, very tiny on the blade choil area there. Okay. And on M390, it is a super steel, as some would call it. It's not as popular as it once was. However, if you want to learn anything more about M390 or any knife steel in particular, check out Doc Steel, which is our channel's favorite doctor, or Dr. Laren Thomas, right? He's of knifesteelnerds.com. He knows nothing of our little channel. However, we trust him enough to always send you his way. There'll be more info in the description. You do have a pretty regular drop point blade on this with a nice curve throughout. We would need to test the hardness, but they're calling it 60 to 61 HRC. It does say that it has a ceramic caged ball bearing inside, and I can tell you right now it does feel like that. The tolerances are actually better than I expected, so I'll take a light in there a little bit later. This is a titanium frame lock. The thumb studs show that they're titanium on the website. However, it does appear that they have steel surrounding the titanium there. Okay. All right. Now remember, as Professor gets the Professor's particulars taken off the screen here, one thing to remember is that what you will see here on the channel is when we do a full review of any knife, we will have a lot more stats and we'll be able to verify said stats a lot easier. Usually we have about 15 or 20. Professor does love them stats, which is why we call the stat section Professor's particulars. All right, well, at any rate, let's move on to the comparison section. So I'm going to get this little guy out of the way here for you. And honestly, kind of doing the comparisons on this was a little bit difficult because I had never held this knife. So let's open her up real quick here. And I did grab some larger, over 3.5 inch blade knives. And I kind of didn't grab a great size one here, but a lot of you know the Cold Steel 8015 made by the Demko brothers. This is a very popular knife. It's a larger knife, so it's going to give you an idea of what this is going to look like. The 8015 obviously coming with that scorpion lock, which is amazing. Another lovely Demko deal. All right, let's see here. Now, thickness-wise is really interesting. As you can kind of see, the Wild series is so much thinner. I mean, I know it's a smaller knife anyway, but it really is thinner. We're going to get the scorpion lock shut here. Oh, not bad drop shut either. Okay. It's not a very good comparison. It's nice if you have one of these and you know, but let's take a peek at the Ontario Rat 1. I'll be honest, even with the 3.6 inch blade, this knife has a very small compact. It feels really good in the hand. Even with this larger knife, the Rat 1, okay, you are actually, again, towering over this guy. So let's take a peek at the side profiles here. Now, the Rat 1's not a super thick knife, but as you can see, this titanium frame lock is a lot thinner. That is definitely something I wasn't expecting. All right, well, what about a Spyderco? Let's take a look at a PM2. This one is wearing copper. It's going to be a little closer, right, size-wise, especially in that length of the actual blade here. But again, I'm telling you, this whole series here is not bad. I'm wondering, you can base the Spyderco has pocket clips on there, but you can literally almost disguise this totally with that Spyderco knife. Wow, that is pretty amazing. One of Spyderco's more form-fitting knives. I'm glad I grabbed this one, actually. This is the Spyderco Sleece Bowie. And this will kind of give you, if you've held a Sleece Bowie, this will give you a lot more. This knife feels a lot more like this when it comes to the balancing and the weight. Man, I tell you, Again, we use these knives at the compound, folks, so I know they don't look like Safe Queens, so forgive us. But as you can see, we finally found a comparison that actually is a comparison. Now, the Sleece Buoy does have a thinner handle profile with that titanium. However, it's more contoured on this guy here. And you're about half the price for something like this over a Sleece Buoy. And I'm going to be honest, they feel very close to where they would work the same. I don't have too much jimping above these thumb studs. I would have liked to see more, but you know what? That's okay. This is a first impression. So it really does feel a lot closer to the Spyder Coastless Buoy. All right, comparisons out of the way. Let's move into, wait, we're done. We're done. Let's say goodbye to the professor's particulars. Let's say goodbye to the comparison plate. Let's say goodbye to the knowledge is king. And let's get into the game. Huh? That sounds good to me, folks. All right, since there's no professor's portal, there's no reason to ship people back in. So let's just get going. Oh, shh, Crocky, I heard it. That there's a professor sound. Right, it's a pocket sound. We got to be really careful. Sneak up behind him and see what that pocket is. Now, again, first impressions, you guys, I have my fun little thing here that we've been using, right? Let's see here. All right, let's get this ready for you guys. These are going to be our pockets or needs, as you know them as. And in the mini game, we do 3, and we'll have our nails over here. And let's see here, 3. Okay, first impressions, you guys, just out of the box here. Honestly, the action with the thumb studs, I would say that was number 1, but I don't like that I can't Spidey flick this knife. Oh, there, jeez. You've seen it live, right? Wonder, no, just a one. There's definitely a possibility that, oh man, I just can't. I got it. Now I can't even freaking get it that way. The action feels nice and crisp, but I'm not going to put action down right now. What I'm going to put down right now is honestly the blade aesthetics. This hand ground satin finish that they gave this thing, I know it's not coming off on camera very good, but my goodness, it really is truly beautiful. And they call it pearlescence. I'm not seeing a huge pearlescence thing to it right now, but I will say regardless of that, and that could be my eyes, and we're using 5100K lights here in the studio, man, it pops. It's beautiful. We are 100% just going to put the blade finish as a need. Honestly, it's just that good. And while we're at it, honestly, while we're at it, I'm going to put the balance as number 2 because the balance feels amazing. Okay. And this one's going to seem weird for me, right? Because this is me. But it feels, well, I'm getting some hot spots down here where it recurves. Yeah, I'm going to say the ergos. Ergos feel great. Recap, I love the blade finish. I'm absolutely love it. We also love the balance of this guy. It's right below that main pivot, which is right where you want it on a flipper. And the ergonomics, the ergos, it feels really good. What I don't like, and that's going to be pretty easy, the detent is really hard. It has that will to have such good action. And I think a lot of you will know what I'm talking about on this. Honestly, when I'm just using the thumb stud right there, it flies out authoritative. But then trying to utilize the back thumb stud or even the top flipper action, I've had some trouble with this. It just has a really, really tight detent. And that could be worked out. Again, if this knife is something we move forward with, who knows? We might actually go back to that and say it's not a big deal. Another thing that I can tell you that I don't like right away on this guy is the jimping it's too far low. It's hitting the back of your thumb here. I get you want to make it look nice, but if you're going to put in the work to skeletonize the blade here, if you're going to put in the work to, do all this extra shaving inside the handles. I would have loved to see some jimping go up a little higher for actual use. So we're just going to call it jimping low. Now, again, I might use this knife and might end up liking that. But as of right now, it does feel awkward. Another thing that I don't like, and I was already thinking about this right when I opened it, as you could probably see in the beginning of the video, I was trying to see if it had any texture. It says texture, but it is not texture. So we're just going to put misleading handle language. Yes, I know my handwriting is lovely. So again, let's recap. Pockets. The blade finish is absolutely lovely. The balance is fantastic. Ooh, I just had a fail there. What am I doing wrong here? Oops, was I holding the wrong thing? I'm having a fail to deploy right now, folks. That is interesting. It's stuck. There it goes. Yeah, there's something going on with this detent. Hands down, that's an issue. That actually could have been a big issue right there. So I just had an issue with the detent, and we did catch that live. So Professor, we won't want to keep that in. As weird as that whole situation just was, my friend, the people do love that. So let's keep that part in. It's something that they're going to need to know if they're thinking about something like this. And we will take her apart and figure out what's going on. Wait, are we going to put that much time into it? Yeah, we are. Because honestly, the number 4, right, we're going to put it, Professor, just go ahead and make that pocket noise. Number 4 is going to be the price to value. This is the first time we've done that on our channel as well. This is a sub $200 knife, and it feels and looks like a much more expensive knife. I mean, it really does. The fit and finish look really good. They've skeletonized it in all the right places. It's definitely a popping art-wise looking thing. Again, what we didn't like that it showed and stated that it was textured handle, and it's not. It's completely smooth titanium, right? Now, again, these are just my first impressions. You don't have to like them. You don't have to agree with them. That detent is definitely putting my thumb into a workout. Again, what you get with this guy, you get the Remette Wild, what was it again? Forgive me. Wild Species pocket knife. You get the microfiber. You get the case. You get a piece of plastic and a box, obviously. The case it's fine. I expect that kind of these days when you're paying anything over 85 bucks, but it's nice to have, and they did a pretty decent job on it. But the knife itself, it feels really good. My only real big question right now is how it's going to handle with that detent issue. I'm going to have to take a peek at it. I wonder, I've had a knife before where the detent had an issue off the bat, and that very well could be it. But again, we're going to have to carry it. We're going to have to play with it. All right, folks. I know we normally build up suspense when to get to number 4. It is what it is. Sometimes we just got to let you go. I've gotten carried away, right? So we've talked a lot about this knife today. You've seen me fumble with it. And I know you guys love these first impression videos because I'm a little bit more not in my element. And therefore, I'm always having issues with what I'm saying or trying to think of. It's definitely unique for us here at Carrierbury, but we love you guys and we know you like this, so we're going to keep doing these, okay? All right, folks. Now, remember, about our knife today, about all knives, about all gear we've had on our channel or will have, right? We're YouTubers. We're not lawyers. You should never get legal advice from anyone that isn't a professional. You shouldn't watch our video and say, hey, Prophet carries that knife. It must be legal in his state. Don't do anything like that, right? Please seriously take a look at and know your local knife laws. If you're not sure how, it doesn't hurt to visit and, if at all possible, support akti.org. They are the American Knife and Tool Institute, and they are on the front lines helping us keep our freedoms and our rights. There's 2 Spidey flicks in a row. I just had to stop it for that, right? At any rate, if your hands are stuck in wax, ice cream, or carbonite, I get it. But if they're not, you should be able to find us online, for goodness sakes, right? Then you, our wonderful EDC family, can help us grow, right? But we need your help. We can grow too. We can learn these old farts over here. We can learn social media. We can do it. We just need your help. Go to your favorite social media site, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, Snapchats, whatever. Type in @carryorbury. Show us what's in your pocket. Tell us what knife you want us to review, or what EDC gear or items you'd like to have us review, or just tell us what you have in your list that you'd want to own one day. Let us check it out for you, right? We'd love to hear more from all of you. Now, don't forget to also click subscribe and like for more content. With your help, we can become the most prepared family on YouTube and even beyond once we learn social media. Until next time, family, keep those blades sharp, my lovely EDC family. Keep those flashlights nice and charged, okay? If you're like me, keep those Band-Aids close, right? Remember, you are the best tool in your daily EDC loadout. May God bless you. We look forward to having you next time. Take care.